Hey.
So, of all the things that have been happening so far in this year's NBA Summer League, one of the more confusing things and trends that I've noticed is the amount of hate that's going towards Killian Hayes from NBA fans and specifically Detroit Pistons fans. Because I was happy for y'all. I even celebrated the future of the Detroit Pistons franchise with you guys in a semi-recent video, but if you continue to keep on slandering my guy Killian Hayes, I'm not sure what I'm gonna have to do. But to get the full story about what is going on with Killian Hayes, let's jump back to the 2020 draft where Hayes was selected 7th overall by the Detroit Pistons after playing in overseas leagues. Killian Hayes' combination of playmaking and shot creation both for himself and for his teammates made him a very intriguing prospect in that draft class. Throw in the fact that he was just barely turning 19 around the time of his draft, and that led to some analysts even putting him up with the ranks of the Anthony Edwards, LaMelo Balls, and James Wisemans of his class. Unfortunately though, Killian Hayes' rookie season would not quite live up to the hype, and he ended up performing a little bit worse than expected. He finished the year only playing in 26 total games, and in those 26 games he averaged 7 points, 5 assists, 1 steal, and a not so great 3 turnovers per game. Not to mention his shooting numbers were abysmal as well. He finished with splits of 35, 28, 82, and a true shooting percentage of 42%. And even in this year's Summer League, it's unfortunately been more of the same. Obviously, a much smaller sample size with only a few games being played, but Hayes is still averaging 6 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and still 3 turnovers a game with shooting splits of 32, 18, and 50. So obviously, the scoring is very much still yet to click for him. With that being said though, there still remains massive upside to Killian's game that I don't think gets mentioned enough. Because when he is healthy and able to play, Killian Hayes is legitimately a part of that upper echelon of NBA playmakers who always seem to just see the game a step ahead of everyone else on the court. Not to mention he's also excelled as a defender so far in his career, constantly just gluing onto guys around the perimeter, and when they drive on him, he easily gets his hands on the ball and strips it away. But of course, NBA fans, as usual, only want to focus on the struggles he's had with scoring the ball so much. And this is the part where I'm going to talk about the caveat that needs to be taken when talking about the 2020 draft class on this current date, because it especially applies to Killian Hayes as well. See, in a perfect world, every single NBA draft pick that comes into the league would be given ample time to show off their true potential and get their say in the league, be given plenty of opportunities to have success, but unfortunately we do not live in a perfect world. And unfortunately because of that, a lot of guys are given up on before they've truly had a chance, even though the NBA has seen countless times now where a player has struggled into their 3rd or even 4th year into the NBA, where they finally show their true potential and have somewhat of a breakout year. And this can be for many reasons. Maybe they need the time to grow into a stronger NBA-ready body and adapt to the league. Maybe they're traded, or they simply just sign to another team and are given a better opportunity, or just overall in a better system that helps them succeed. Or maybe they just realize they only have 1 more year left on their rookie deal and they want to go get paid. Whichever way, it's very rare that players immediately come out of the draft and play at their highest level possible, because that's just not how basketball or the NBA works. And this thought process should then be emphasized for the 2020 draft class, considering they got drafted into a worldwide pandemic that was ruining the layout of the league at that point. Because if you think back, the NBA was able to successfully pull off the NBA bubble down in Orlando for the 2020 playoffs. It all went, smoothly enough that it was able to work and finish out the season, but it was also very evident that this would not be a viable solution for the entirety of the 2021 season as well. As a result of that, the league stripped away as many non-regular season games as possible, in addition to an already shortened season that was now 72 games long instead of 82. And with the new format, there was no Summer League for the 2020 draftees, there's only a handful of preseason games, and because the NBA was also rushing the season to be done in time for the Olympics, games were played in a much more condensed schedule, leaving little time for practices. Throw that all together, and I'm honestly surprised that there were any rookies that were able to provide any sort of positive impact on their respective teams at all. This is the same reason why even players who I thought had no business being drafted where they were, like Obi Toppin for example, still deserve at least a few seasons of our time before we should officially close the book on them as bad draft picks. Because after a season like the 2021 season, you never know who was truly affected the most by the circumstances, and in addition to that, you don't know who is going to break out and have a better career now that it's mostly out of the way. And like I said earlier, this especially rings true for Killian Hayes specifically. Because you could throw away the scoring, you could throw away the defense, hell, you could even throw away his awesome playmaking. To me, the single most important stat from Killian Hayes' rookie season is that he only played in 26 of a possible 72 games. You can go even deeper and say that Hayes was only healthy and on the court for a total of 670 minutes in his first NBA year. For reference, LeBron James has logged over 2,700 minutes in 13 of his 18 seasons. So I'll step up and ask the question. Why are we getting so mad at a 20-year-old sophomore player whose rookie season was plagued by a hip injury, and he's also in the middle of his first true offseason where he can actually play and get better, not to mention he's already a good player who has been effective on defense and amazing as a playmaker? Is it solely because he hasn't been able to score the ball that well? Because it's understandable to be a little frustrated or upset with the fact that he isn't making a whole lot of shots because, again, he has been pretty abysmal when shooting the ball. But it's not like he can't shoot or that he's not willing to shoot. If you ask me, when he does take shots, his offensive moves and step backs and such, they all look pretty fluid. Killian Hayes has a veteran level confidence when he's pulling up for his shots, they just for some reason aren't going in. But I also think that fans have to realize that the more attention you draw to the fact that Killian isn't scoring the ball that well, that's just going to be more and more pressure that's going to be put on Killian to fix that part of his game. I mean, just go look at Ben Simmons. His fans have been clamoring for him to take a three for the past, 3-4 years now, and it's still a mental block in his head. Because of that, Hayes should take as much time as possible to sort out this portion of his game if he is able to put together his offensive game and start hitting these step backs and side steps and floaters that he's been flashing for years now. Then there's no doubt in my mind that Killian Hayes easily ends up being one of the better players from his draft class because the defense and playmaking are already there. So I say this to Detroit fans and just all basketball fans in general, but be kind to your younger players. It's simple. Be happy for their strengths and then remain hopeful that they're able to fix their weaknesses at some point in their careers. Because as of now, Killian Hayes and so many other players from his draft class, they haven't gotten a real chance, and I think they deserve one, and the fans should respect that. And if you've made it to this point in the video, then congratulations, you're a real one. Now if you enjoyed this video, maybe think about hitting the subscribe button, should be somewhere in this general direction. Or if you're not sure yet, maybe check out another video which should be in this general direction. Either way, thank you for watching.